But Pike did not name this mountain after himself. Pike more humbly called this the Grand Peak. It was only after his death in combat during the War of 1812 that people started to refer to this mountain as Pike's Peak. And of course it had many names for many, many years before Pike ever even got here. Some of the natives who once occupied this land called this Sun Mountain because it's the first object in the morning sky that the sun touches as it rises in the east every morning. And many centuries after that, during the 16th century, some Spanish explorers came through this area. They were looking for a lost city of gold called El Dorado. Their leader was a famous explorer named Cortez. And they never found El Dorado, but they did find Pike's Peak. And those Spaniards named this mountain El Capitan, which means the leader, because it's the highest mountain by far anywhere in the area. So those are just a few of the names that we know about that this mountain's had over the millennia. I'm sure we'll have many more before it's all said and done. By the way, there are 5 Pike's Peaks in the United States, at least one that I'm aware of in Pike's native Canada. All 6 of those mountains are named after that same explorer. Back in 1893, we had a very special guest here. Her name was Catherine Lee Bates, and she was a college professor as well as an amateur poet visiting from Wellesley, Massachusetts. Now, either she did not quite trust our brand new masterpiece of Victorian engineering here, or maybe she just didn't want to put down a full week's paycheck for a ride on the train. So Ms. Bates came up in a covered wagon instead. We get those cameras out, folks. We're almost to an area called Inspiration Point. And it got that name because it's what inspired Catherine Lee Bates to write the timeless words to America the Beautiful. Now, many people don't know that America the Beautiful was written right here on the side of Pike's Peak. And many people are also unaware that America the Beautiful was almost the national anthem of the United States, losing out to the Star-Spangled Banner only by a handful of votes. So get those cameras ready. Once again, everybody, by all means, feel free to stand up. But stay in the seating area, be sure you're braced up, and no matter what you do not enter that brown center aisle for any reason. We'll be there in just a few minutes. America the Beautiful was originally just a short poem. It was later put to a piece of music called Materna, and that's the song that we all know today. I also just recently discovered that Catherine Lee Bates, after America the Beautiful, wrote some of the poetry that's on the base of the Statue of Liberty in New York. She became rather famous and an important figure in our nation's history after she came to visit Pike's Peak here. So welcome to Inspiration Point, everybody. I wasn't sure what to expect weather-wise today, but it looks like we've still got some nice clear views out there. Who do we have on the train today from the state of Kansas? If you take a look way out there on that horizon, that is part of Kansas you're looking at today. From the summit of Pike's Peak on the clearest of days, one can see a diameter of over 320 miles, and that includes 5 states: Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Wyoming. Right now we're at an elevation of around 11,000 feet, where we can begin to make out the curvature of the earth. If you look down the hill on the three-seat side, you'll see a lake down there, and that's the first of 9 bodies of water we'll be passing on our trip today. This one is different from the others, and it's special because it's the only naturally occurring of all these lakes. This was once a glacier, and it's called Lake Moraine. I recently found out that zoologists have just discovered the Arctic raven is actually the most intelligent of all bird species. It took them many years to figure this out. The Arctic Pacific raven is also the only species of bird known to participate in recreational activities. In other words, they've been observed basically goofing off for no other reason than just to have fun. Prior to that discovery, scientists thought that that type of behavior was reserved only for mammals. While the engines have quieted down a little bit, while everyone can hear me loud and clear, we've got a few things to go over. Now, we know that everybody on this train has spent a lot of good money to join us today. So if the tour is not your thing and you'd rather have a conversation, that's okay with us. But I do need everyone's very close attention for the next few minutes, because we're going to be at the summit in the next 15 to 20 minutes. We need to talk about what you can expect up there. Also, the highway is closed today because of the snow. So if you get stuck up there, you're really in a lot of trouble. So if everyone could please listen for just a moment. Let's all get out our watch, our phone, whatever we're using to tell time today. Let's make sure that we're all synchronized, because we're going to be going by my watch. And right now, my watch says that it's about 2:21 p.m. So make sure that yours says the same thing. The most important piece of information you're going to get this entire day is the fact that this train leaves the summit of Pike's Peak at exactly 3:20 p.m. We do not wait for anybody. We leave on time every time, so if you come out at 3:21, this train is going to be gone. A lot of people think that's a joke, but I can assure you it's definitely not a joke. I have personally left almost 100 people on the summit by now. So don't be late. Now at 3:10, Keith is going to sound the horn 3 times. And that's your 10-minute warning call to wrap up whatever it is you're doing and start heading back to the train, because again, if you're late, we are going to leave without you. By now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about the restroom situation, and you'll be happy to know there is a nice big building up there on the summit. It's called the Summit House, complete with restrooms. They've got the gift shop and the snack bar and the whole 9 yards.
Inside the head of everyone she don't know. Got lots of questions, lots on her mind. She likes to look for things she don't want to find. I get high, high. I get high, high. I get high, high. I get high, high.
You're looking at the third most lucrative gold mine in all the world. That's called the Crescent Mine. It's near the small town of Cripple Creek, Colorado. And over the last 130 years or so, they pulled more gold out of that one spot here in central Colorado than the entire states of Alaska and California combined. And those are probably the 2 states you think of when you think of gold. Still to this day that that one spot, they pull about $1 million worth of pure gold on average out of that mine every single day. So although the Spanish never found a literal city made of gold, they did walk right over the top of that mountain back when it still had a top, not having any idea what was underneath. So perhaps there is some truth to the legend of El Dorado, and maybe, just maybe, you're looking at it right now. Let's get all those windows up. Also remain seated until we come to a complete stop. Keith is going to sound the horn to let you know when it's safe to stand up again. And by the way, folks, when you do stand up, it's going to hit you so suddenly that you won't notice it. But once you start walking up here at 14,110 feet, you're going to get very dizzy. It's going to be hard to concentrate. So it's very important that you all watch your step on the way out of this train. There are a couple of ramps here by the doors that tend to sneak up on people when they're dizzy, so watch your step. We've also got some snow and ice outside, so be careful out there. It is slippery, and definitely be sure to keep a very close eye on the children. Don't let them slip and fall on that ice. Speaking of Keith, he did a great job, just like he does every other day, of keeping everything nice and quiet. So let's give him another round of applause, folks. Thank you, Keith. And I would like to be the first to welcome you all to the summit of Pike's Peak on such a beautiful, clear autumn day. You're now at an elevation of 14,110 feet.